Now, business interruption claim. Because we clicked 30 on our claim form, if you click 29 or 30, you also need to do the business interruption form. Again, all this information would populate because I didn't have a registration form. It didn't pull over. So let's just see. I'm going to type it in. If something's missing, just type as you go. The name of the business. FWC business. Now, if you're making a claim for property damage or business economic loss, between this time period, describe when and how your business was damaged. And that could be, I had to replace water heaters. I lost customers. Whatever the case may be, however you believe that you suffered a loss because of the water exposure, that's what you should type in here. And what are your damages? Now remember, you're going to have damages associated from your tax filings that show a net loss. You can add more information here if you want to. You could say cost of water heaters. You could say cost of water bills. Whatever is going to, on your, whatever you used in your tax filings that you believe is contributing to the loss, that's what you should write here. Ultimately, this is what you're going to have to submit. So if you have the year, let's say the year of the loss is 2015, that's when you believe you suffered your loss. You need 2 years prior. So you need tax filings from 2013 and 2014. You're going to show a loss with tax filings of 2015, and then you're going to show 2016. Now, maybe you suffered a loss all 3 years, 2014, 15, and 16. You're going to submit tax filings from 2012 and 13, the year of the loss, 14, 15, 16, and 1 year after, 17. Those will be uploaded here, and you can put in the year of the filing. Right? You can load them here. You can put them in the claim form. Again, don't get too caught up on where they're loaded in, as long as they are in one of your forms and in the system. The claims administrator will be able to see them all on the back end from their viewpoint. When you're done, submit for review. It's going to tell you again, hey, this is it. This is final. Are you sure you've got everything in here? Go back if you're not. If you're sure, I understand, submit. I'm going to go back. Go over here to the other forms. Let's go to the declaration of real property for owner or renter or business owner. Now, if you have a residential property that you owned or leased or were responsible for the water bill, meaning your name is on the water bill, you have to do one of these forms. And there's a section for business as well on this form. So you can do one. So let's get started. Again, this is going to pre-populate, but you want to be very careful on this one, especially if you have a residential property claim and a business claim. And if you are confused at all about it, you need to call the claims administrator. They will assist you. You're going to put in your form. Actually, let me take that back. Let me clarify. If you are putting in a claim for a residential property where you lived, you're going to do a form. If you're putting in an additional claim for a business property, you need another form. You need to call the claims administrator and tell them you need another form put into your file. Okay. If you lived in you rented in 2014, and then you moved and you rented another place in 2015, and then you moved and you rented a third place in 2016, you can put a claim in for each one of those properties. It's going to require a separate form for each one. If you need more than one, you need to call the claims administrator and ask them to put it into your folder here, into your portal. Okay. So let's deal with residential, because it's asking for the relevant real property or business address, which is subject to this claim. We're going to fill this one out as if it's the place where you lived. So you lived on Main Street in Flint, Michigan. I'm just putting a fake zip code here. This is not a business. This is where you lived. Again, category 28. That's real property. That's where you owned or leased. Put your name. Why were you there? Were you the owner or did you rent? If you rented, you're the lessee. So I'm going to say Jane Smith. I rented, so I'm the lessee, and I rented all by myself. I'm 100% responsible. That's all you need to do on this form for your lessee. Now, who owned it? They want to know that. Let's say John Smith, who was the owner. And as far as I know, he owned it 100%. Done. You're finished with the form. Now let's say that I rented it, but I rented it with John. So I'm a 50% renter. I'm 50%. Say John was a lessee with me, and he was 50%. Now let's say we rented it from John Adams, and he owned it. As far as I know, he owned it 100%. That's what I'm going to put. If you have his current information, that will be very, very helpful. If you know where you sent your rent checks, put that down. If you have a phone number, put that down. But that's it for your residential. There's nothing else to do here. Now let's look at the same form from a business perspective. If you were talking about your business, let's say that's the business address. You're not filling anything out in section 4 because that goes to category 28. That's a residential. So all this is going to come out. For a business, we're going to go down to section 5. This, if the claimant, that's you, is seeking damages for category 29 or 30, that's business related. They want the names of all owners or interested party in the business or real property. So again, let's say I had a business and I owned it 100%. I'm the owner, 100%. Now I want to put the street address of the business again, and then I would be done, right? If I owned it with someone, let's say I own 50%, I'd put my 50. If I owned it with John, I'd put him down as the owner of 50% with all his information here. And then I'm done. If you have more than 2, you can, there's plenty of space. You can even add more. So remember, if you think about each, on the settlement grid on the claim form, for each check mark you make, you need a declaration. I'll say that again. For each check mark you make on the claim form at the bottom in those settlement categories, you need to fill out a simple declaration. If it's an injury claim, we're about to go over that one. You're going to do a declaration of exposure. If it is a residential property claim, you're going to do the declaration of real property. If it is a business property claim, you're going to need a declaration of business property. If it is category 30 with a business interruption, you're gonna need that business interruption. I know I'm trying not to make it complicated, and so that's why I'm saying if you just think about each time you check a box because you believe you have an additional claim, there's a declaration you have to fill out. If you are unsure, call the claims administrator, or you can call us. When you're done, residential or business, again, you're gonna click submit. Oh, and it's telling me I didn't fill something out right, and it will do that. If there is a required field that you do not fill out correctly, it's not going to let you go forward. It's going to go back. Then you have to go up and look for, see if we can find it, state. It's going to outline it for you. Now, see if I go down and I hit submit. Now it's going to let me. It's going to tell me again, hey, this is it. Be sure you really want to hit it. I'm going to go back.